So everyone, we will begin in 5 seconds. Hello, students and educators. We are so excited to have you join us for Career Exposure Week. My name is Chelsea Hunt. I am the Executive Director of Work-Based Learning and Industry Engagement at the State Department, and I will be your moderator for this session. We will hear from our guest speaker, Katrina Mucker, who has her credentials as a registered nurse, so we term that RN, and her credentials as a critical care registered nurse, termed CCRN, at Oklahoma Heart Hospital. And then we will have a Q&A session. Katrina may ask you some questions throughout the session, so I will be here today to help field any questions you may have. This session is being recorded, and we will archive it within the Oklahoma Career Exposure Week online module. Also, we will send out links to the recorded sessions to everyone who registered today. Please join me in welcoming Katrina Mucker, RN, CCRN at Oklahoma Heart Hospital.
All right, good morning, guys. My name is Katrina Mucker, as Chelsea has said. And Chelsea, I would like to thank you for this opportunity and thank you for the warm welcome. Students, welcome. As she mentioned, I am a nurse at Oklahoma Heart Hospital, and I've been there a little over 4 years. I work in the ICU, or the critical care unit, and I take care of patients who recently had open heart surgery, among other things. So this morning, I am just going to let you know, we'll discuss what a nurse is, what nurses do, pathways to becoming a nurse, and then also different nursing opportunities, like different career fields that you can go into as a nurse. And then I'll show you a little bit about what I do throughout my day-to-day at Oklahoma Heart Hospital. So, and as I mentioned to Chelsea, this is will be kind of an interactive view or interactive discussion. So first question, can anyone tell me briefly what a nurse is, what they do? Anyone?
Feel free to unmute your mics or add it in the chat box.
What is the question again?
What is a nurse?
What is a nurse? Is it do they like do checkups and stuff?
It's a little muffled. I didn't quite understand what you said.
And Katrina, we also have some comments that say nurses help other people, and a nurse is someone who takes the vitals or helps the patients.
Okay, I like those answers. That does cover some of the things that we do. I just have kind of a generalized description of what nurses are. Registered nurses are licensed healthcare professionals. They are direct caregivers for patients, manage daily activities, giving medications, assessments, among other things. So my definition of a nurse, we care for people, we help them get to a state of health, just getting them to a state of wellness. In the ICU, I do total patient care. So that can be anything from giving baths to feeding the patient to, like I mentioned earlier, daily activities, getting up, walking them, different things like that. So you're like, okay, that sounds good. I want to be a nurse, right? So some things that I think are traits or skills that are needed to be a nurse. You have to have compassion. You care about people. You want to see them do well. You want to get them healthy, and you have to have love and care in your heart to take care of these patients. So other things that come into effect, also communication skills. Throughout your career as a nurse, you're talking with doctors, you're talking with patients, you're talking with patient family members, different members of the healthcare team. You have to be able to get your point across to let them know what's going on with the patient, different changes. People skills are also great to have as well. health conditions, diseases, they don't discriminate on anyone. So you will run into patients of all different backgrounds, different cultural, that might be different from yours. So being able to have great people skills are pertinent as well. Let's see, attention to detail. So being able to monitor the patient, notice little changes that might affect them in a big way. Time management skills. From my day-to-day, I probably have 100 things on my task list at work, and you have to be able to get through all of those, giving medications on time, doing lab draws on time, all these things throughout a 12-hour shift. It's critical to that patient and their needs, right? So those are just a couple of the things that you need, among other things, critical thinking skills, which you'll learn those when you get in nursing school. So you're still thinking, okay, great, I still want to be a nurse. Let's do it. So first thing, graduate high school. Y'all are on the right track, right? So continue with your high school education, biological sciences, anatomy, physiology, microbiology. Those are great prereqs in a sense to get you ready to continue with your nursing schooling. Research nursing schools. There are so many nursing schools here in the state of Oklahoma. I myself went to Oklahoma City Community College, and they have a great program there. So here listed, I just have 2 routes that you can go for your initial nursing schooling, where you can get an associate degree in nursing and a Bachelor of Science in nursing. The difference with those degrees, associate's degree is a 2-year degree, and the Bachelor of Science is a 4-year degree. Both of those routes will get you to where you have your nursing license. The Bachelor of Science is more focused, I would say, like on taking on leadership roles if you wanting to be a nurse manager or go into advanced practice schooling, such as nurse practitioner or nurse anesthetist. So those are just 2 basic ways to becoming a nurse. Then there's the coursework. That's actual nursing school. Nursing school, they tell you everything about basic patient care, making a bed with the patient in it. It might sound like a simple thing, but it's, one of those skills that you need to learn. Starting IVs, medication administration, and then you'll learn about different medical conditions, different diseases, and the treatments for those. So that's all covered in your nursing schoolwork. After nursing school, you have to pass the NCLEX. That is your national licensure exam that you pass this and they say, okay, you're a nurse. This exam averages about 120 questions or so, and it can cover anything from the beginning of nursing school all the way to the end. Thinking back when I took my NCLEX, it had a lot of pregnancy stuff on it, which is definitely not my cup of tea, but I mean, I had to know it for the exam. So anyway, you have all those different things that can be covered on that exam. So high school, nursing school, coursework, pass your exam. Now what? So we're sitting here looking like Patrick, and we've done all these things, and we're like, okay, now what? I'm going to open this up for a question. Does anyone have an idea what our next step might be? Feel free to unmute your mics or respond in the chat. And I'm not good at looking at the chat, so I don't know if
a couple of comments is internship, maybe a practicum.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead.
We've had a response about start looking for jobs. Is that the next step?
That is the next step. Yes, absolutely. So I have my license. Now what? Let's look at jobs. So internship, that's a great way to go as well. And it's funny, that's not even something that I thought of. My internship was kind of integrated within my nursing school because I was working as an extern while I was in nursing school. So I didn't even think about that. So that's a great response. So some of the go-to jobs for nurses are hospitals or clinics. So I myself work in a hospital. You can also have like a 9-to-5 job at a 9-to-5, 8-to-4, I'm not sure, in a clinic with a doctor's office. Another thing are long-term care facilities. So these are places where the patient gets out of the hospital, but they're not quite ready to go home yet. So these are kind of skilled nursing facilities where they take care of patients in hopes of getting them to at least a state of well-being where they're able to go home. You have schools or universities. So anywhere from pre-kindergarten, elementary school, all the way up to the university level, you still need school nurses, right, on campus. You have law offices that employ nurses as well as legal consultants. These are usually probably like in fraud cases or medical malpractice. The nurses are able to give their input on that. So if the law interests you and you're a nurse, I mean, you might find yourself on the witness stand in like crime scene investigation or something. I don't know. It's something cool like that. Let's see. Helicopters. You're like, helicopters, what? So there's a such thing as flight nurses, right? So say someone at a smaller hospital, this hospital may not have all the resources that a larger hospital would have. So we metaflight them there. So you're not just putting that patient on the helicopter and like, all right, take care of yourself, stay alive till you get there. No, someone needs to care for them on their way to the hospital. So that's where the flight nurses come into play. Cruise ships, that's cool. Like to travel. Cruise ships, they have to have medical staff available if any of their guests become ill or need medical care. There's an opportunity for you as a nurse there, and you get to travel and see the world. So Hollywood. I'm not sure if any of you all watch like Grey's Anatomy or Good Doctor or the 911 shows. When they write these shows, they use medical consultants, and that could be nurses. I don't know about doctors, but they might be a little busy for that. But they'll write a script and they're like, does this seem right? Like, is this something that you would do in your practice as a nurse? And you okay it or make changes or whatever. And you're in Hollywood. So I've never been, but if that's something, you're into, then you've got that as well. Let's see, state or national parks. If you're an outdoorsy type person, you like to fish, hike, bike, be outside. Other people like to do that as well. With that, you have risk of possibly injuring, or they could get hurt out there. State and national parks employ nurses as well. So those are just some of the things that I thought were kind of neat outside of the hospital that kind of gives you that opportunity to do something different as a nurse. So we've picked a job. Now what? Yeah, this part right here, right? So money. So that's important. You work, you would like to be compensated for your time. So another question for you guys, how much do you think a nurse gets paid? So you can say an hourly amount or salary. Go ahead and mute your mics or chat if you have an answer.
We have some $28 an hour. And mentions of the Peace Corps and FEMA uses nurses too. So maybe there's some good money there, about
Yes.
$30 to $32 per hour.
Okay, good. Okay. Those are great answers. And it can range from, I would say maybe on average, anywhere from 22 up to maybe 50 to 75 an hour, just depending on what type of nursing you do. Travel nursing, you can make a good amount of money, which that's been very popular in this last year with the pandemic and everything, and nurses really being an in-need type of career. So here I have listed it just a nursing salary by education level. Earlier, I did give you the ADN and the BSN, Associate Degree in Nursing, and the Bachelor of Science of Nursing. And those are just kind of ballpark figures. I wouldn't say those are hard and fast. This is exactly what you're going to make when you come out of school, this, that, and the other. And then down the line, I have other degrees that you could pursue past your bachelor in nursing, a master's degree, a doctorate degree, or even a PhD. So the master's kind of focuses on being able to write prescriptions. The doctorate, you're kind of looking at the upper management as career level. Pardon me, guys, sorry about that. And then the PhD, you're kind of looking at academia, research papers, working in universities, different things like that. So anyway, wide range of careers, wide range of pay. So, pardon me, just one moment. Oh, I didn't mute that. I meant to. Okay, sorry. All right, so this is a heart. I work at Oklahoma Heart Hospital. So hearts are my passion. I love the way that the heart works. It's a very fascinating organ. This little white thing here does not belong in there. That's a balloon pump, but it helps support the heart while it's weak. So as I mentioned earlier, I am a heart recovery nurse. That's kind of what we're called. I take care of patients. They have open heart surgery, operating room, into my hands. They're my patients and I care for them immediately post-operative. So that's one of the things I do. I take care of some patients that have different heart complications. Their heart might be too fast. It might be too slow. It may not be beating at all. Those are all problems. And the Oklahoma Heart Hospital, we are great in taking care of all of those problems. So I'm just going to kind of use some pictures to kind of walk you through a little bit of what I see and what I do throughout the day. This patient could be one of the patients that I have. Right after surgery, over here to the right, you see a ventilator. So that machine is supporting their breathing. You've got two healthcare workers in there. I work with an extensive team from doctors, respiratory therapists who take care of the lungs. Different members, so communication skills, being able to get your point across, different things like that. This is a machine that supports the heart here. That's a balloon pump. After surgery, some patients' hearts may not be strong enough to beat on their own, so we have this machine that helps support it. Assessments. We are constantly assessing our patients every 1 to 2 hours, or even in shorter periods of time than that, throughout our shifts, just to make sure that we are not missing anything that could be going wrong with these guys. So I usually take care of the very, very sick patients heart-wise. So the attention to detail comes into play there, being able to recognize these changes. So that's very important. Medications. So we give medications via pills, IVs, sometimes feeding tubes, the one that goes in the nose down to the belly if they're not able to eat just yet or take pills. So you have those different routes of administration. Computers, we live in a digital age. So Oklahoma Heart Hospital was one of the first all digital hospitals. Yes, we still have paper, but for the most part, everything is on the computer. So here you'll check doctor's orders, you will check the patient history, different labs and things like that. So all that's in the computer. And here it looks like this nurse is getting ready to draw blood from his patient. So I mentioned the lab levels. We stay on top of that probably once or twice a day. We do labs to see if the interventions that we're doing are helping these patients. We check potassium levels. If those are too high, that's not good for the patient. If they're too low, that's not good for the patient. So we're always trying to find that happy medium. Let's see here. I got some little cue cards to help me out. So before we continue, I am going to take a quick commercial break. You all stay tuned for just a moment here, okay?
I work in the critical care unit at the Oklahoma Heart Hospital. The support system that we have here, just from everybody is here for you, and in turn, we're here for the patients. We have meetings throughout the year that kind of keep us in the loop on what's going on. You feel like your voice is heard, you feel valued as an employee, and you just want to help the organization. We have the best of the best, and we can turn that around and take care of our patients. I leave knowing that I did a good job, that I did the best that I could, and I'm satisfied with that. If you want to excel in your nursing career, have the support that you need, Oklahoma Heart Hospital is where you want to be. My name is Katrina, and what I love about OHH is the support system.
All right, guys, I'm back. Did y'all see anybody familiar in that commercial there? So that's where I work, Oklahoma Heart Hospital. Like I said, we are a heart hospital. It was Oklahoma's first dedicated heart hospital. We are physician-owned, and we've got 2 metro locations with 60 plus clinics statewide. So wherever you are, Heart Hospital is there as well. So say you did pursue a career in nursing, and maybe like a year down the road, you're like, I remember Career Exposure Week, and there was this really cool, funny lady telling me about this wonderful place to work. And it was Heart Hospital. So if you are compassionate, like I said, our heart is there. You're compassionate, hardworking, team-oriented, have a nursing license. That's important if you want to work there as a nurse, and have at least a year experience, then Oklahoma Heart Hospital might be the right fit for you. I have those certifications listed just because those are something that you will acquire as a nurse anyway, so that will be kind of a given thing. So I just kind of want to recap what we did. We discussed what a nurse is, what they do, pathways to becoming a nurse, different nursing opportunities like the cruise ship or helicopters, and then also a little bit about what I do for my day-to-day. So at this point in time, that does conclude my presentation. I'd like to thank you all for your time and your interactions. Very much appreciated. At this time, I'm going to turn over to questions, and I'll await those.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise on the nursing field, especially during this time in COVID-19. We just give you so much gratitude. We do have 5 questions that I've collected so far, so I'm just going to toss them at you. The first one is, what is the difference between an RN and an LPN?
Okay, so as far as that goes, RN, registered nurse, LPN, licensed practical nurse. So LPNs are able to pass medications, but I think LPNs are able to pass medications as well, but they are not able to, like, I don't think they're able to take the doctor's orders and put those, I'm trying to see, because I'm not an LPN, so there is a difference somewhere. Maybe I don't think they're able to give IV medications or different things like that. So I apologize that I am not giving you the best information on that. So
that is okay. You mentioned it, that your field is a registered nurse. So that is, at least you told us the difference between the two. The second question for you is, do you have to go to different schools to be a nurse for the military?
No, not necessarily. You don't. They are broken down into, based on the credentialing of the nursing school. There's an ACNE and a CCEN. They are all nursing schools, but they just have a different credentialing service. The military prefers, I have it written down somewhere because I was interested in the military at one point in time, but you don't have to go, the military doesn't discriminate. If you have your nursing license, they prefer that it comes from one of those credentialing services, but a nursing license is a nursing license, and the military, they are always looking for nurses. So critical care and emergency department and emergency medicine are the big ones.
Very nice. So your third question is, do you have to do practice with a nurse?
When we have new hires, we precept or train new nurses basically. So they already have the schooling, but it's just getting them comfortable working in the hospital setting. So I myself, I precept new nurses. So that kind of answers your question. You're training kind of with a nurse, but basically it's just to learn your time management, learn how the flow of the hospital, so to speak.
Very nice. We have more questions coming in, so I'm just going to keep tossing them
Sure.
to you. The fourth question is, how do you deal with COVID?
So it was a really crazy time when COVID started. It was, we had different changes every single day through our emails. At the Heart Hospital, I didn't experience much COVID. We did have some COVID patients, but I also had a job at Norman Regional Hospital as well. And COVID hit that hospital pretty hard. So it's just being very mindful of what you're doing. And it's really keeping your hands clean, being mindful of your PPE, the protective gowns and everything that you wear, just keeping everything clean. And then also families aren't able to visit. So that's really difficult for these patients. They're scared, and they don't have really that support system. So you are their support system. And it was a really difficult time. So, but I mean, I loved it. I mean, because we were able to be there for the patients. So.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and just being, as you said, that support factor for the patients whose families can't be there at this time. So we definitely appreciate our nurses in the state of Oklahoma and everywhere. The fifth question is a heart nurse always on call?
No, not for me exactly. I like I said, I work in the ICU. My schedule requires me to work 3 shifts a week. So I work 3 on, I'm off for 4. Now, if you work in the cath lab, that is, you are on call as a nurse. So say someone comes in with a heart attack and they need to go in emergently and have some stents placed, there's a cath lab team that's on call, and they call rotates. So in that sense, some of those nurses are on call.
Okay. And I do want to say that we do recognize that we are over on time, but we have some good questions, so I'm going to keep going. So if you have to leave, we definitely understand, and thank you for joining us. Hope you can come back tomorrow to hear about careers in information technology and, of course, careers in construction. Katrina, next question for you.
Yes.
What is the most challenging part of nursing?
For me personally, is sometimes you'll have some patients who waited too long to come to the hospital for one reason or the other, and knowing that you can't do anything that's going to change the outcome. So that's sometimes very hard to deal with personally, but at the same time, you provide the best patient care that you absolutely can for them and their family at those times.
Well said. Next question for you. I believe this is our 7th one. What would you need to become a developmental disability nurse?
I don't know exactly because I don't work in that field. However, I'm sure there would be some different training courses available. The nursing community is large throughout the world. I wouldn't even just say the States, but throughout the world. So I'm sure there are different training courses that you can take and certifications. There are certifications for everything. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
The 8th question is, what is your favorite thing about your job?
I've got 2 favorite things. I love the people I work with, absolutely love the people I work with. But as far as patient care, I work with hearts. So there are some patients that come in and they aren't able to walk 20 yards without tiring out and having to sit down. There are some procedures that are done if it's usually a bad valve or something in the heart. And these patients they have this procedure done and they're literally up just walking around, doing laps around the nurse's station. I love to see that progress. I love to see people get well and walk out of the hospital. So that's one of my favorite parts as well.
Love it. Next question is, will most of this apply if you want to be a nurse for the Children's Hospital?
As far as heart or just general nursing?
Let's keep it in with general and also maybe an RN focus with heart.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. There is when you're in nursing school, there's a part that does cover children's care, pediatrics. And so if you're a nurse, I mean, you learn to take care of the body, the human body. So yes, as a youth, there are different changes first, as an adult, but you will learn how to take care of children as well. So it does apply.
And 2 more questions, and we'll wrap it up. Where can nurses renew their BLS?
Usually if you're working at a hospital, they can they have courses set up for you that you can do that. Or you're also able to, the American Heart Association, Red Cross, they also have classes where you're able to renew your BLS or ACLS certifications.
Okay, and final question for today is it hard trying not to get emotionally attached to your patients?
I think initially I did deal with that quite a bit, where you did get those emotional attachments, and still even so, especially if you're on for a few nights or whatever, and you develop that bond with that patient and their families that you're taking care of. So it's hard, but at the same time, you have to know your limits and your professional boundaries as well.
Very nice. Well, Katrina, thank you for staying over with us and answering those questions about the nursing field and just sharing again your expertise and your career journey. I want to thank you all, to all my students and school districts. Thank you for joining us. This session again has been recorded and we will make sure that you all get access to it. We hope again that you will join us tomorrow, and I have dropped the registration link in the chat for you all to have access to it. Again, thank you all for your time and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, Chelsea. Have a great day.